Hey everybody, we're back to the Thinking Corner, because I said we'd do something about the rest of the KH 2.8 trailer. So now we're gonna just take a quick look at KH back cover. Yeah, I'm just gonna hop right into it. There's really no lead up to it. So yeah, let's go, let's do it. Ooh.
This world is full of light.
So right off from the start, there's already something super interesting about this part of the trailer. Mainly being that somebody dressed up in the black coat that for the longest time has been connected to Organization 13, or specifically associated with the organization and people either actually in it or sneaking into it and stuff. And this person seems to be in Daybreak Town playing with posies. And I don't know why. There is a theory, and we're going to get to that later on in the trailer. But really, I just want to point out just some weirdness that's happening, as well as the fact that he sounds sort of like Chris Evans. I've seen a few people mention, it's like, oh, wait, is that Cap? Is that Captain America voicing somebody in Kingdom Hearts? And now, while that'd be awesome and it's cool, and I do actually think that sounds a lot like Chris Evans, it'd be weird if, well, I guess it wouldn't be that weird if they only used him for this, but it would seem like sort of a waste, right? So I'm sort of leaning towards, if it is Chris Evans, then that also, in my brain, kind of gives a chance that whoever this character is right here is going to show up in later installments of Kingdom Hearts. And it does make sense that they could get Chris Evans, because right now, since Disney owns Marvel, and, Chris is Captain America, maybe they swung something. Maybe they did it.
What? Did you expect the traitor to give themselves up with that accusation of yours? That was foolish.
I said, that's quite enough.
Okay, so right here, we already see there's dysfunction happening amongst the Foretellers, which if you haven't been playing Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key or Kingdom Hearts Key, whichever one copy you got, that essentially that's what back cover is going to get across, is the story of those two games, mobile / web games. The only difference being that this is going to be told from the perspective of the Foretellers, who run each keyblade union within Kingdom Hearts Unchained and Kingdom Hearts Key. While, the game is told from the player's perspective, who is just a random keyblade wielder that, just ends up joining people because it seemed like the thing to do. Everybody was joining the gang. Everybody was in the anime Durarara, so they were like, hey, let's make a gang and wear yellow, because that's cool.
Hey, maybe talking about the book will cheer you up.
Not a chance.
So this is cute. That's all I want to no, it's a bit more than that. I have not gone that far into Unchained, so there's going to be a few things that I'm just going to see it and be like, I got nothing on it, so let's just skip. But I do like that all of the Foretellers seem to have a lot of personality, and because from what I have gone through so far, they generally seem like a bunch of people that are just there to kind of give like an overarching, oh, hey, this is your boss and you're working for them and they're having issues with each other. The group is having a bit of a quarrel. But I'm really happy that they're doing this movie just so that you can actually see that you give some depth, give some little breath to the characters, make them more likable, and might convince some people to get the game. I don't know. It's free. You can play it. You don't gotta buy nothing. There's things you can buy medals in the game, but it's good. I like it.
Darkness will prevail, and the light expire.
Each of our copies were said to contain the events of the future. But this incident, well, it's nowhere to be found.
Okay, so this is something really important to, I figure, point out for those who haven't been playing Kingdom Hearts Unchained. So part of the Foretellers thing is that, so they had a master, the Master of Masters, we're going to call them, because they're also all Keyblade Masters, these 6 students. As you may have seen around the table, there were only 5. And that's because how the Master of Masters did it, apparently, was that he had a book that foretold the events leading up to darkness covering the world, darkness taking over light. And so he gave copies of that book and nice little outfits to 5 of his 6 students. Now, I haven't gotten that far into Unchained, so the reasoning for not giving to the 6th student, not exactly sure. Although there seems to be a lot of saying that 5 copies were given to these 5 students and the 6th one was kept in the dark. Hey, get it? Because he's gonna be the one to represent darkness. Because it's not fair to only have light being represented. Because, well, Keyblade Masters, or I'm guessing the Master of Masters idea, was that they're generally supposed to be kept in a certain balance. Maybe more light than dark, but there needs to be darkness. So, guessing that's the logic behind it. But anyway, the big argument in Kingdom Hearts Unchained is what to do about this prophecy. And right now, it's really interesting that Unicornus, so he has a unicorn face, so he's a Unicornus, is looking over his book, his copy, and sees that there are either missing pages or just an event just transpired that has no mention in the book. Which is a big problem, because since it's a future-telling book and apparently has all of the events from now to Encroaching Darkness, they should have something saying something about this. That is to say, unless you know the whole, you change the future by doing something that didn't happen in the book. Maybe that's what happened. That'd be an interesting thing. We already got time travel in Kingdom Hearts 3. I see no reason why there's no way to end up changing the future in the series, so we'll find that out later.
You can barely stay on your feet! Just give up already!
Why did it have to come to this?
And as we see here, they start beating each other's asses, and I think what happened right there is that one of the masters got killed, and I don't know that part of the game, so that feels maybe a bit spoilery. I've done it to myself though, and I appreciate it. Thank you, myself. No, it's a really cool idea, just like we're witnessing the beginnings of the Keyblade War. I'm pretty sure that's how Kingdom Hearts Unchained is supposed to end. That's or at least that will be the climactic battle or climactic event. Essentially throughout the game, you're collecting something called Lux, which is light, a representation of light in little money pellet form. And each union is almost competing to gather the most light. And if you remember from Kingdom Hearts 1, or from any of them that you get a little retelling, Kairi's grandmother retells the story that led to the Keyblade War and to the world being covered in darkness. And it pretty much talks about everybody was in peace and bathed in the warmth of light, and then they started fighting over the light until darkness took over their hearts. So that seems to be what exactly is happening here. At first, they were all unified, trying to find a solution to the problem of an over-encroaching darkness. None of them knew how to stop it, but they all argued over different solutions, and they all had different opinions on what to do, so they couldn't come together on that. And it just grew more and more into frustration and even maybe jealousy in some cases, or envy, or, just annoyance, ignorance. A lot of stuff happened in the group. That's probably what's going to transpire throughout the movie as this tension builds until they actually literally start fighting and killing each other off. And then they convince their groups to join in this battle, all out Keyblade War. And then we get the Keyblade Graveyard as we saw in Birth by Sleep.
Isn't it our duty as Keyblade wielders to prevent this war from taking place?
Not possible.
And so we're back over to this guy in the black coat in my Organization 13 hoodie. So once again, he does actually sound like Chris Evans. So yeah, good job on anyone who hears Chris Evans in there, because I hear it too. I'm almost convinced they got Willa Holland back for Aqua. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't also get a bigger name, maybe, because she's definitely not the biggest name they have for the game right now, is she? Or for the series. I don't think so. Because I wouldn't count, oh god, what's Sora's VA's name? Why can't I remember this little boy's name from Sixth Sense? Who's now super grown, and the last time I saw him, in fact, was from the Entourage movie. Regardless, you know who I'm talking about. I'll remember his name eventually down the line and just blurt it out during somewhere later in the video, and you're just gonna accept it. Anyway, so now that we're talking about this, we've gone over the whole Foreteller thing and how there were 6 students, but the 6th one didn't get a fancy code or animal mask or copy of the book. And there's a lot of theories that he is somebody who is supposed to signify darkness. Oh, well then, look at you, Mr. Black Coat. Coat used specifically to protect a person from darkness. How are you today? So, first off, let's get out of the way. A lot of other theories that I've seen popping up all around the internet is, one, that this is a time-traveling younger Luxord, Organization 13's 10th member. Which, by the way, like, okay, he has time-traveling powers. The other reason why I could see people thinking this is because, although he's number 10, as we know, a symbol that looks very similar to the Roman numeral for 10 is Key, or Kai, as you could pronounce it. And that is for Unchained, and for Kingdom Hearts Key, it is that symbol that is used. So, it would be interesting if they did this whole time Luxord was somehow not member 10, but member Key, which then could make that possibility. Reason why I doubt this very highly is because, one, why? That doesn't seem like, why would Luxord, it seems very random to have Luxord involved in this whole story, as he was such a secondary character. I liked him. He was neat. He was fun, pretty much the most fun that I had in the Pirates of the Caribbean world in Kingdom Hearts 2, but besides that, I don't, and he had an interesting, I like the gambling thing. I like characters that do the whole gambling, trope, but he doesn't have that much significance to the overarching plot. And then on top of that, this is a completely different voice actor. Why would they change the voice actor? Even if it's a younger Luxord, why would they change the voice actor? The voice actor could just make a younger voice. It's also a completely different accent. So it seems very ridiculous for that to be Luxord. Next theory I heard was that this is Xehanort. And it's a bit off because, once again, same thing. He can time travel. It's the Organization 13 code, but it's a different VA from the young Xehanort and Master Xehanort. And on top of that, his mannerisms and the way he speaks. Same thing with Luxord, actually, which I didn't mention before. Just besides the accent, this person speaks completely different from those two. So it's very doubtful that's either of them. So the third option that I saw on Reddit, I can't take full credit for this, because that's definitely where I saw it, and then my brain went, oh, that makes perfect sense, is the 6th student. It definitely makes sense because, one, Unicornus seems familiar with him enough to start talking to him about a potential Keyblade war coming forth. It's very doubtful that he would come to somebody who is seemingly unknown over such a huge issue, like war. So it's definitely someone that he has a relationship with. Either that's some time traveler that he's been there for a year now or something, or more. Or this is the 6th student. I think that makes more sense because then it would allow us to introduce a new character. I would also like this to be the thing because then that would mean Chris Evans is voicing the 6th student. Well, if it is Chris Evans. And if that's happening, more than likely the 6th student is going to show up in another part of the series. Maybe not Kingdom Hearts 3, even though that's would seem like the most likely choice, but he's definitely going to show up because he's practically the key to all of this in a way. Solving why the Keyblade War happened, figuring out what the Master of Masters' whole plot was behind only giving 5 copies of Mass and Coats to his other students. He's a very integral character. So I really think it'd be the 6th student, and also I agree with that Reddit post. And on top of that, I would really hope it is so that Chris Evans can pop up in a different game. If it is Chris Evans, come on, Chris, do a cap.
We need to defy the Master's teachings to protect the world.
You're saying he was wrong? When the time comes, and there is war, you mustn't fight, but instead you must fly away from here to the world outside.
And bam. So, yeah, that's interesting, right? Actually, hold on. Let's play that back real quick.
You mustn't fight, but instead you must fly away from here to the world outside.
I swear that is different from what I remember watching before. Okay, we're having a moment right now where, because I'm recording this and I'm watching it in Sony Vegas as I'm doing my little thinking corner thing. I swear that's a different line than I remember playing in the trailer I watched. Hold on one gosh darn second. We need to check. We about to go a-clicking. And if it is, I'm about to show it. And if not, then we'll just go about it and I'll tell you later.
A few moments later.
Okay, never mind. I'm having conniptions. So oh my God. You know what? Never mind. We're just going to go over what this is, because for some reason I remembered it as her saying, please help fight with me. But in this now, is this an alternate universe? Did I jump over to a parallel dimension? I swear I watched a trailer that had it end with her not saying you mustn't fight, you must fly from this place, and her saying, please help me. Please stay and fight. Why do I remember this? What different world am I living in? I'm going to have to now go through all the different versions of the trailer and see if I find that. I don't think it exists. Either that or I re-uploaded it and effing with me. This is madness. This is Sparta. Okay, I'm going insane. Anyway, we're going that last part I find interesting because that might hint towards how a bunch of how Keyblade Masters and Keyblade Warriors continue to exist. Because definitely not everyone, it's not like Daybreak Town's Keyblade wielders were all the Keyblade wielders in the universe. But it's quite a large amount. And so it's something to consider that a bunch of them flew away to different worlds to hide out from the war instead of taking part and most likely dying a horrible, gruesome death. And even more so interesting is the fact that while, in the mobile games, a lot of people can characterize their characters to look like anything. And so that's probably what they did here with all of these characters. Just strew on a bunch of different outfits that you can get from within the game. But there's a dude there that looks like he has on Riku's outfit from Kingdom Hearts 1. And it might be kind of interesting. We never talk about parents in Kingdom Hearts because most of the time parents don't matter in Kingdom Hearts. But I feel like they might be working towards that. Because we know about Kairi's grandma. We've heard nothing else about Kairi having family like any of her other familiar relations. And we know Sora has a mom. We've never seen her. We heard her say one thing about dinner and then Sora not answering because he long gone. And then we know nothing about Riku's parents. But we know that he's capable of wielding a Keyblade because he was given the mark by Terra. Like, okay, yeah, you can wield a Keyblade now. But what if he would have been capable of doing it in the first place? I know that Keyblade wielding isn't inherited necessarily by some sort of blood or heritage. But what if that's some sort of fate or destiny? What if it turns out that we find out that Riku had a Keyblade wielding parent? Would that add anything to the story for you? If yes, or if no, leave a comment below. Yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up. I just want to leave that question because I think it's an interesting idea if we just start throwing parents around, because we've avoided that whole scenario and Square Enix has kind of swept down to the rug. It was like, their parents, whatever, they did. but it feels like we're building a lot towards Destiny and Lineage, because we know that, or it's heavily implied that this keyblade that Master Xehanort uses was passed down from the 6th student to him, and there may be more than one reason for that. It may not just be, everybody, all those masters passed their keyblades down to a new student. The 6th student may have just passed it down to his son or something. Don't know. This might be a whole story about revenge and fathers and freaking Star Wars. You know what? Wouldn't put you past you, Square Enix, so I wouldn't put it damn near past you. Anyway, that was Thinking Corner. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Alright, yeah.